Welcome to the Blessed Mindset Matters podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Raquel Tolson, and we are broadcasting on WYTV7.org, where we have a mission to empower, encourage, and educate. Now, if you have been being blessed by the Blessed Mindset Matters podcast, I need you to go to www.wytv7.org and hit the donate button. You can donate $5 or you can donate $50. Whatever you donate, we would be most gracious because we use that money to keep us on the air, and we also use it to send kids to college and to help feed families. So go do that for us. Now we are at the end of February. You already know that it's the year of family, but in February we are talking about Black families, and I've been talking a lot about finances. So I wanted to bring on a family, a young millennial family, who is actually doing the kind of things that I have been talking about. Welcome, Walter and Acacia Ramundo, all the way from South Carolina.
Hey.
What y'all say? South Kakalaki.
Oh, no, that's what everybody else say.
Y'all don't say that. Okay, so Walter and Casey are both Air Force veterans. Well, actually, Walter, you're still kind of in the Air Force, right?
Yes.
When you're like reserve, right. So he still. So thank you for your service. Isn't that what everybody's supposed to say? Thank you for your service. So I want to get right into it, but I do want to say that Walter is also a music producer. So if you need some dope beats, Walter is your guy. And Casey is, well, she is an author. She's a poetess, and now she has a brand new podcast. Well, the two of them together, but Casey, I think, is the face of the podcast. Tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Oh, I know, I'm ready. Okay, so I started a podcast kind of channel on YouTube. It is under K Diamond. My channel focuses on giving life advice to anybody out there based on my own personal life experiences and what I learned and grew through, or how I learned and grew through those experiences.
Yeah, so they can find it at where? YouTube, what's the name?
Yeah, it's K.Diamond.
K.Diamond, great. And I know for a fact that it's some good advice. You know why I know that? Because she gets a lot of advice from me.
This is true.
I know she's giving some good advice because that's what happens. When you learn, you are supposed to use what you learn to help others. So that is what we're doing. We're sharing, because what I give to her, I get from my mentors and other people. So you just keep it going. That is how life is supposed to go. Okay. And so that's why we're here to talk about finances, because we all have gotten good financial advice, and we are using it. We're not just getting advice, because you can get advice, but if you don't use it, So let's get into that. I want you guys, because you're newly married, tell the people why you chose a house over a large engagement ring and a big wedding.
Dang, that sounds more like a me question.
Yeah.
So do it. Answer that.
Yeah, because I would be the one giving you the ring. It was a tough battle, because it's more so what standard where you give this beautiful big rock that you can afford, that you saved up your 8 months, or however you calculated, whatever you got told growing up. But instead of doing that, looking into maybe, can you give us
kids? I get it. I forgot to say that they are parents of young kids. So
yeah,
we're done. We're done.
Mm-hmm.
We'll help you when we're done. Just put it down. Go watch TV.
I only have 2 more.
Okay.
All right.
I did all the
Okay.
All right, go enjoy some TV, boo. All right.
So you're saying why you chose the house over the wedding ring, the engagement ring, and a big wedding?
Oh, okay. What was I saying? Because the standard is you get the big rock and you propose with that. But for me, it was more about, or I guess for us, it was more about, I actually saw a long-term, what's the word? I saw long term with her. So to me, it was more about an investment into our future. What can make us better rather than just what makes us look better. I feel like we already look good in so many ways. We get a lot of compliments from people that we look good together. We're a power couple. We're this and that, and it's nice to hear those things. And it's cool when it's nice on the outside, but it's really what's important to both of us. And to both of us, it was about, you know, spending time in a place that we both really like and making a smart financial decision, which was getting a house, especially in the times that we did it. So it made the most sense to do that and make that my proposal. Like, look, me being as young as I am, stepping into making a huge decision into buying a house with someone before even putting a ring on their finger was a huge step for me. So that was a huge commitment.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
So,
You know what? And let me tell you, you said some really key things. And I think that, I hope everybody caught that, because you're like, people say that you look like a power couple. And then for your age group, you know, and I mean, Gen Xers, we are on social media also, but I think it's more so for the people under us that looking great on social media is huge, and everybody is trying to look like the power couple, look like that they're this or that, they look like they're happy and all that stuff on social media. But in real life, it may not be that way. And you were like, look, instead of me giving you a big rock so everybody can be like drooling over it, and let's really put some stuff to make us this power couple. Let's get some real estate. Let's do the things that's really going to make us the power couple that we desire to be, not what social media and the followers want us to be. Like, that's huge. And then you said something about not doing what tradition dictates. That's huge, because tradition dictates the ring, the big, and even if it's not a big ring, but tradition dictates the ring before you get married. But really applaud you buying a house when you're in the military and you don't know if you're going to be stationed there for, a long time. How does that play into, should you buy a house or should you not buy the house? What made you decide to go ahead and buy the house?
I think it's a huge risk, and a lot of people think, yeah, I won't be here for long, so I'm just not even gonna do it. Or if they purchase, they will purchase back in whatever hometown they plan on retiring in. But I had a military family tell me that they purchased a house and it was the best investment they made. And they were explaining to me after 1 year how much their house had improved in value, had increased in value. Mm-hmm. And the husband was breaking this down to me, and he was like, had he known this at the beginning of his career, he would have purchased a house in every location that he was stationed in. And when he said that, I was like, I thought about the locations I've been in and how, if I had purchased, especially in a place like LA, God, the amount of profit I could have today would be insane if I did that at the beginning of my career. So, I mean, it was just like, I felt like it was a risk worth taking because it was nothing but gain. For the most part, there was only room for improvement and room for increase in value. So why not take that risk?
You know what? I usually don't let people count. I don't usually ask people to count their money, but because we are talking about money this month, I just want you to share, because as a veteran, you don't have to put any money down for the house, correct?
Correct. When you use the
Okay, so you bought a brand new home because you guys built a house, right? Yeah. Brand new home. How long did you live in that house?
5 months?
6.
Like 5 or 6 months.
5 or 6 months before the military sent you to another place. Now, was it difficult to rent that home out?
No, we put it on the market, and I want to say we had renters a week later.
Okay, I just want people to hear this, because there are some people out here that's like, no, I want them to hear your story. 6 months in the house, able to get a renter a week later. Then when you realize we're going to go somewhere else where we want to buy a house, you decided that you would sell the house, and you could decide to sell the house a year later, basically. A year later after the renters were in, or was it a year after you got in?
It was a little over a year after we got in because the renters didn't even sign a 1-year lease because they were building themselves. So they rented out in the process of their home being built. So we didn't even have to do a full year lease with them.
So right after their lease was up, you were able to sell the house.
Right.
Were you able to sell the house for a profit?
Yeah. We sold it, and we sold it within 2 weeks. We put it on the market. We had our first offer like 3 days later, and then actually they closed on the offer in less than 2 weeks. But it was just that, the time for everything to align.
Right.
Yeah.
So you made a profit from your sale because you put zero down, but you came out with some profit.
Right.
And when we say profit, we're not talking about $200.
No.
We're talking about nice profit that you could actually use for the home that you're buying now.
Right. It covers our down payment now, even though we don't have to have one. But in COVID times, at the moment, some builders are wanting you to put into a what's it called?
Earnest deposit.
Yeah.
They're expecting that, so that's really what we're doing. But we get some of that back, so. Yeah, we're still in the profit range.
Still in the profit area. And that's what I've been trying to say. Real estate, even though I don't sell real estate, I wholeheartedly believe that everybody, if they want to increase their net worth, they get some real estate. And you guys prove that, especially if you are a veteran or even in the military, because you get to use the same benefit where you do not have to put any money down to buy the home. So if you're going to be paying rent anyway, why not pay a mortgage? And then when you leave that city, you can rent it out or you can sell. And if after a year, the house is probably increased, in value, and you get money.
Yeah, and keeping it rental property would have been a good idea, but we're trying to purchase a new home, so it didn't work for us. But had we already had the location, or we weren't trying to buy right now, we would have just kept it as rental property.
Right. See, that is just smart thinking. I love that, and thank you for sharing. Before we go to commercial break, I would like you guys to share also, because we talked about how you went the big engagement ring and the big wedding. And for the down payment, we show how that worked out for you. But honestly, when you walk around and you don't have this huge ring and you see all these other people with this big ring, how do you feel?
I don't care. It don't bother me at all. I used to think it mattered, but really, like, our bond is so strong. Like, it doesn't matter what ring I have on. I don't care. We care. We both care about how we're investing in ourselves and our children's future. So that's what value is.
That is so smart. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back because we're going to talk about some more things. They have so much to share. We'll be right back.
Calling all HBCU alumni, supporters, and golfers. It's that time of year again. Yes, the HBCU Swing Into Their Dreams charity golf tournament on Tuesday, April 5th. If you missed the last one, you have time once again to be epic. Don't miss the golf tournament of the year. The Swing Into Their Dreams HBCU charity golf tournament at the Atlanta National Golf Club in Milton, Georgia, Tuesday, April the 5th. Registration begins now. Sign up your golf teams at swingintotheirdreams.com. That's swingintotheirdreams.com. Or call 770-686-7148. That's 770-686-7148. Don't miss it.
And we're back with the Raymundos. They have been sharing how they have been living, thinking about the wealth of their family, to create generational wealth, to have wealth for them now. They have they have done away with the traditional thinking, and they are seriously thinking about their future. And I love it. So one of the things you said right now, you're building a house in South Carolina. Tell the people where you're staying while you're building that house, because this is another important point I would like to make.
We were staying with my parents. Yeah.
Now, was that like, being that you're, grown, back at your mom's house with your husband and your two children, because you have a almost 1-year-old and a 7-year-old.
Right.
So I'm sure that is a lot to be at your mom's house.
Oh, it's a challenge. We talked about it earlier, not from the perspective that I think some people think like they don't get along with their parents. Like, it's not that. It's just space. Like, you having your own personal space and dedicated places for your stuff, like, makes a big difference. And so right now we're sacrificing in that area, which can be a little stressful. So you got to get out the house and breathe and get out in the world. But it saves us so much money. Like, we're not going into debt while we're building a house, because we did just move. So that was a big expense in itself.
Mm-hmm. That is so important. You just said that you were willing to sacrifice so you didn't have to go into debt. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back. They were willing to sacrifice so they didn't have to go into debt. Now, I am really big on that, because we're not just talking about sacrificing a night out. We're not sacrificing, a pair of red bottoms. No, we're talking about actually sacrificing for months in your home, and then especially for a female, not being the woman of the house, because that's your mom's house. So you're not the woman of the house. You know what I'm saying? You have to so, the fact that you were able to do that, and you see, okay, we're not going to be here for long. We have a goal. We're going to get to our goal. We're going to do that. That is very impressive. Now, tell the people, or I don't know, maybe you might not even know, because you might not even have counted the cost, but how much money is that saving you? Do you even know?
I counted up the cost, but I do know for a space that we needed, it would have probably cost us around $2,000 a month.
Right.
And rent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's not including utilities. So the only thing that we really pay here is food. Like, we don't have to, but we feel like we have to contribute somehow. So we try to take care of groceries and dinner more times than they do.
And about how long do you think you'll be at your mom's house?
When it's all said and done, about a year.
So you're I'm just saying, like, listen to this, a year, that's 12 months, time to 2. There's $24,000 that you have saved.
Yeah.
Basically, $24,000 that you have saved, because you just said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead, ask for help, because you had to ask your mom if you could live there. Mm-hmm. You ask for help, and a lot of people don't want to do that. And, and then let's just be clear, in our community, a lot of times, you're looked down upon when you come back home to live with mama. Oh, and so, and just that whole thing, so you're back, where are you? I'm living with my mom. And it's like, everybody thinks, really, right? Is it just me right there?
I think what I appreciate when we're talking about like the wealth and bridging that gap is it's important for the younger generation to see the sacrifices the older generation is making to help us build. Because like, even with our car, like, we sold one of our vehicles. We're like, we can make it happen with one to save even more money. And we were able to do that as well, because my mom has another vehicle that we could use in the event that we both needed one. So it was like, put the pride aside. Like, we got a house and we have an extra vehicle in the event that we need it. So we downsized our life as much as possible. We cut out bills that weren't necessary, subscriptions and everything, because it was about getting ahead, because we were given the opportunity to get ahead.
That is so, I hope people are listening. And if you know somebody that should be hearing this, because sometimes, coming from somebody that's over 50, they're like, oh, yada, yada, yada. But to hear it come from people their own age, maybe it will, jog something. It's like, stop living for the gram. Stop living for the gram, because some of the people living for the gram ain't really living like that.
I think the best advice I can give to people that are my age is the quicker that you can get ahead, the better off that you would be. And I say that because you see a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, like, people will go from, I want to flip my $200 to $400. Okay, that's incredible. That's a 100% profit. But think about if you had $100,000, if you just made 1% on that, that's $1,000 easily.
Right.
So
Right.
the quicker that you can get ahead and have more, I like to say capital, more money,
Right.
the more that you can make money without having to make money. And you talk about that too, making that passive income, and that's important. But that's why when you're younger, it's like you try to get ahead as much as you can, and that's everything that we're considering. That's why we're getting rid of all those bills and expenses and just focusing on the next house.
Right. Oh, I love it. You say focus on the next house. It's like, okay, we got this one. We're going to focus on the next one. I love it. So one of the other things I wanted to talk about, because I know that you guys are doing this, when I talk to you guys about the living benefits life insurance, Walter said something that it just almost made me cry, because I love Casey like a daughter. And he said, I need to have a lot of insurance because I want to make sure that my wife and family are taken care of in the event that I'm not here. You remember when you said that?
Yeah.
And I like almost teared up. And so like really talk to, because a lot of people in the minority community don't even like to talk about life insurance. So tell me, as a young person, because young people ain't thinking about dying or getting sick at all. Most of them not. What made you guys decide, we're going to invest in living benefits life insurance policies for ourselves
Right,
and our children?
Right, Kel Tolson. You don't get everything out of magic, but you have mentors like that, and that's the thing too. It's like people our age can listen to us too, but it's still important to listen to people who are older than you, who have already been through it, and who are already thinking about things like this. It's like I wasn't thinking about it, but then you did bring it up to me, and I started doing my own research into it, and like, oh yeah, it really is important, and I started to develop my own interest into it.
Right. So it helped. You heard me, but something that you said, you know what? Let me go and do some research. I do need this. And that's all, really, that's all I want for people. I don't want people to necessarily just do what I say do. I want people to hear what I'm saying and then go and do some research to make sure that what I'm saying is valid. And not just valid, but valid for you.
Yeah.
Because advice may be good, but not all advice is good for you. So it's important that you do your research and that you find out. So for your children, when we talked about the $1 million baby plan and saving for your kids' retirement, like how crazy was that when I was telling y'all just put some money aside for your child's retirement and stuff like that? It was just like, she barely making it in school. She just got to school. Why are you talking about her retirement? Did you feel like that when I was talking about that?
No, not really. It just put it in perspective, because even I think you mentioned something and it made a lot of sense. It was like, go ahead and get in there early, because one, it doesn't cost you a whole lot to set them up for success. And two, you don't know what life throws at you. And people's kids get sick later in life. And then now it's too late to get, affordable insurance, affordable policy. I'm gonna say insurance.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Same thing. Yep. In both cases, it can be more difficult. So you go ahead and get in there as soon as you can, and then if these issues do arise, you have the living benefits that can come and back you in the event that you have high hospital bills or anything like that. So it was just that whole thought process. It was like, how's it hurting us? Yeah. Like, we don't have to invest too much to still invest in a great way in our kids' future. So it's
easier to be intentional about it when you're like, okay, I'm cutting $50 here, like what we were talking about. We're cutting $50 here. It's easier to look at it like, instead of like, oh, I got to pull another 50 somehow. You cut one thing and you invest it into something that you find more valuable. And to us, that was our kids' life insurance. Definitely going to make sure we put that money in every month. So
right. And let me just say, for the people who may not understand, we're not just talking about a living benefits or a life insurance policy for kids. We're talking about that in addition to a way to save money. They're putting in that $50 a month, but not all of the $50 is paying for the life insurance, the living benefits life insurance. A lot of it, a big hunk of it, is going into savings. So they will have that money when their daughter is ready to go to college. or she may not be ready to go to college. She may be ready to start a business. They will have some money that they can give her to help her start her business. Or she gets a scholarship because she is brilliant. And then they just keep saving that money. And then when she's ready to get married, they have money to put, to put for the wedding. Or she's like them, I'd rather have a house than a wedding. And they use that money for a down payment on a house. And then she does that. And then she still can have some money in there. So when she retires, her parents may no longer be with her when she's ready to retire at 65, but that money that they saved, so she may have $500,000 thanks to what her parents did. And so when she retires, she's like, yeah, I'm good because my parents looked out for me. How huge is that?
Yeah.
Like,
I just
that's
found out my mom has an insurance policy on me still. I didn't even know that until I talked to her about what you said. She's like, oh yeah, I'm still doing that for you. And I'm like, oh, good to know.
And then so you gonna have that money. So when you ready to retire, you got that retirement money thanks to what your mom did when you were a little kid. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, the Bible says that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. That's deep. Because when people talk about a good man, they ain't talking about that. But it said, the Bible says a good man leaves, and I'm going to say a good parent leaves an inheritance for their children's children. And when I really thought about that, that's when I decided, you know what? I need to buy a home so I can leave an inheritance for my children's children. And that's what I did. And I started, because I'm saving money for my retirement, but I was like, okay, well, this house though, it's an inheritance for my children's children. And then as soon as the children are born, you talk to the parents to make sure the parents are doing what they're doing. But then when you get some money, you put a little something away, so your children's children can have an inheritance from you. I mean, it really is brilliant the way that the Bible put that out there. And most of us, we read the Bible and we don't really hold on to what they're saying. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm holding on to that, and it looks like you guys are holding on to that too, because you guys are on your way to leave a great inheritance for your children. And I'm sure that you will be going to the next step and having something for your children's children. Yeah. Yeah. You guys are, let me tell you, I just want y'all to know that you guys are inspirational. You are inspirational to me. The way that the way that you guys do life, the way that you listen to what other people have to say, and then you make your own decisions. Oh my gosh, we can talk about this another time because that's not about what we're talking about. But there are a lot of things that you guys have been through that would have destroyed other people, and it did not do that for you. So kudos to you for the way that you think. And let me just say this, it's not about wealth, but I had to say it because we're in February, the month of love. And today we're actually doing we're doing the interview on Tuesday, 2/22/22. Tuesday. It's all about couples, love, partnership, right? Let me just say, if you are listening, you're not looking, Walter is not African American. Casey did something that a lot of African American women won't do. She got out of her comfort zone, out of that box, and sought love outside of her race. A lot of people, we don't like to see that. But God said we're all the same. So sometimes you have to get out of your box, step out and find the person that's right for you, and they may not look just like you. Casey did it, Walter did it, and they are a beautiful power couple doing big things for their family. And I wanted to say that before we left. I don't even have to ask them what made them do it, because if you look at them, they're both beautiful people. It's hard not to fall in love with somebody that beautiful. So, and they're not just beautiful on the outside, they are beautiful on the inside. I know, because I love both of them. They are lovable, beautiful people. And of course, they were able to see each other, the God in each other. And kudos to both of you for being able to see outside the box. Thank y'all for being on the Blessed Money Mindset Matters podcast. Hey guys, I hope this has been, I don't know, I just hope it has inspired somebody. Share it with your young people. They don't have to live for the gram. They do not have to floss for the gram. They need to put their money where their money is going to grow and help them to get the things that they want to do and leave an inheritance for their children's children. Until next week, be blessed.
Bye.